Good morning, dear students. Now, welcome to today's business studies class. Before moving on to today's topic, I would just give you a quick recap of what we have done yesterday. So, yesterday we started characteristics of business and types of economic activities. In the characteristics of business, we studied that business is an economic activity. It means it should have some money value involved in it. Then we read that you should be dealing in some goods and service. You should be producing the goods and service. Plus, you should be doing that business in a regular basis, not once in a while. So, your motive should be earning profit. Plus, we also did that there may be uncertainty of the risk and there should be uncertainty of the return. Means your return factor is not for sure. Plus, there is a lot of risk. I told you, higher the risk, higher is the return. So these were the features that we covered yesterday. Then we also did that there are three types of economic activities. The first one is the business, the second one is the profession, and the third one is employment, where we have seen that how they all differ from each other. In the first one, you don't need any qualification. Business doesn't need any qualification, but it needs a huge amount of capital, and profit is the reward that they get. In profession, we read that you must be highly qualified for that profession, plus some amount of capital is required, means you have to give some amount of money to get that degree. And we also did that main thing is the fees, or the for what do you call the professional fees for which they are working. And the last employment, we read that it is qualification is required as per the employer, if the employer is asking, plus there is no risk involved at all, and the thing that you get is the salary or the wage for which you are working. So moving to today's topic, we will cover classification of business activities, means how is business activities classified. So before moving on, you just see the chart that first business is classified into main two activities. The first one is the industry and the second one is the commerce. Today we will just cover the first part, industry. So before going on to that, you just see this whole chart which is also given in your books. See, the business is divided into two categories. The first one is the industry and the second one is the commerce. Today we will just cover up the industry. So forget about the part which is given for the commerce for right now. So industry can be further classified as primary, secondary and tertiary. Means we can further divide them into three categories. Then the primary industries can be further categorized into two forms, extractive and genetic. The secondary can be classified into manufacturing and construction. And the third, tertiary, is single. Please remember that. Now, manufacturing can be further classified as analytical, synthetical, processing and assembly. I repeat the whole thing. Your industry is basically of three types, primary, secondary and tertiary. Primary is further divided into two categories, extractive and genetic. Secondary is further classified into manufacturing and construction. Manufacturing is further subdivided into four types, analytical, synthetical, processing and assembling. And tertiary is just one sector, tertiary. So let's cover the first part, industry. Before moving on to the types, first see what industry actually is. So see, industry refers to any economic activity which are concerned with the conversion of resource into useful goods. It means what? That the main part of industry is to convert the goods or the resources into useful goods. You have the raw materials. From that raw materials, you make the useful goods. So your first thing that is important is converting the goods from resources into useful goods. See what have I jotted down in the slide, that industry refers to that part of the business which is concerned mainly with the production of the goods and service. Means your main thing is only producing the goods and service. It is the factory or the industry. So industry can be further classified into primary, secondary and tertiary. So see the three types of industry, primary, secondary and tertiary. Let's move on to the first category, which is the primary industry. You already know this. Primary means the basics. So this is mainly engaged with only extraction, producing and processing all the natural resources. It means this is the first industry where their main activity is just extraction of the natural resource. Understood? That extraction could be anything. Extraction of the coal, extraction of the petrol, mining, including your farming, lumbering, anything, hunting. So your primary industry is mainly with extracting and producing the goods and services. Okay. Now see, if we further classify the primary industry, we can have as the first one extractive. So see, their main work is engaged in the extraction, that means collection of the useful materials from the earth and sea. That means all mining, fishing, agriculture, quarrying, all comes under this extractive industry. You are just engaged in extracting the useful materials. Everything is there in our earth. Everything is there. That resources has to be extracted. They can be extracted naturally. So these products are usually transformed into useful goods by the manufacturing industry, which will come next. Means manufacturing industries will convert them into, the useful goods. So extraction is the main job. Please remember in extractive industry. See the second slide here in extractive industry. The product of these industries are either directly consumed or they are used as a raw material by any other industry. Some materials may be directly used. The farmers farming the goods, some goods are directly potatoes, onions, all these are directly consumed. But say for example wheat and all, wheat needs to be ground up in the factory again and then we get the flour. We don't directly take the wheat and bring home and then we only grind it and make it the flour. So some of them can be consumed directly, some of them again becomes the raw material for some other industry. Are you getting my point, class 11? I repeat, some products become consumable directly, means we are directly eating them or using them, and some becomes the raw material for the other industries. Okay. Coming to the next topic, we have genetic industry. Genetic means they are engaged in the reproduction or multiplication of the plants and animals. They are just reproducing them, multiplying them. So they must be having any poultry farm or say breeding farms where they are keeping them, looking after them, multiplying them, means increasing their number. Plant nurseries are examples. Cattle breeding farms are the examples. So all these comes under genetic. See, these industries remain engaged in breeding the plants and animals for their use in future. Means further they will reproduce and then they will multiply in number. So plant nursery, poultry farms, cattle breeding, all these are examples of your genetic industry. Understood? Moving to the second category, the main category. The first one we covered primary, where we have the two subdivisions. The first one extractive, the second one genetic. Now moving on to the second category, the secondary industry. Now see, they are concerned with the materials which have already been produced at the primary stage. Means already the materials are produced. Now they are just going to convert them into final consumption. See, these are concerned with using the materials which have already been extracted at the primary stage. Means in the primary stage they are already been extracted. Now these industries will just make these materials into use for final consumption. Means they will further process it and they will make it ready for you to consume. Understood? I repeat, these industries already take the goods from the primary stage and make them into the way of, the fine that you can use that final goods. Means they make it ready for your final consumption. So this is the job of the secondary industry. Now see the classification of the secondary industry. The first one is manufacturing. Please see, the first one is manufacturing. Means they are engaged in the conversion of the raw materials into finished goods. Say for example, the cotton which is made by the farmer. So the cotton has been made by the farmer at the primary stage. So that cotton first has been extracted from the primary industry. So first job was of the farmer who was farming the cotton. So that falls in the primary industry. Now that cotton balls, if you are making into fine cloths and all, this will go under the secondary industry manufacturing unit. Means this is the job of the manufacturing industries to convert these raw materials into finished goods. See the examples I have cited: cotton turning into textiles, cotton textiles, then timber into furniture. So timber will be made in the primary unit and then converting these timber into furniture will be the job of the secondary unit. Understood? Now see, manufacturing unit can further be said as they change the form of the goods, that is from raw materials into finished goods, and thus they create the form utility. Utility is the main factor. We directly cannot take the raw materials. So we have the raw materials for cement, but those raw materials are made into cement by these manufacturing units. So manufacturing units do this job. Understood? They produce consumer goods, industrial goods, capital goods, all. Manufacturing units produce all sort of goods. Consumer goods, industrial goods, capital goods, car, machines, buildings, any particular soap, any particular shampoo, everything is being manufactured. So please remember, the manufacturing unit is a very important unit. Now moving to first the types of manufacturing units. See, manufacturing industries further are subdivided into 4 categories. The first one is the analytical. Analytical industry means they analyze and separate the different elements from the same material. As in the case of oil refinery, means in the oil refinery only same thing is there, but they will analyze and separate all the elements. So analyzing and separating the different elements from the same material is the job of the analytical industry. For example, you have oil refinery. In oil refinery, you have lot of different types of oil. So they will categorize diesel, petrol, then many other things will be there. So they will refine each and every oil, material element. So understood the first one, analytical. Moving to the second, synthetical industry means combining various ingredients into a new product. Say for example, cement is produced from lime, silicon, magnesia. So combining all these products and then making the cement is the synthetical industry's job. They will make all the ingredients combined together to form a complete new product. So that is the job of the synthetical industry. Moving to the next category, we have processing industry. It involves successive stages for manufacturing the finished product. For example, sugar, paper. It's not done in one stage. There are successful different stages. So they will slowly and steadily manufacture from one stage to another, then another stage to another, and then finally make your paper or sugar. We know that paper is made from trees, but then from the trees they make the pulp, then from the paper pulp they make the paper. So these are various stages which they have to pass on. Same way for the sugar canes are there, from that it is extracted. So all these will be the job of the processing industry. Moving to the fourth one, we have assembling industry. It means assembling all the different component parts to make a new product. You must be knowing that sometimes we get assembled computers. It means what? That the parts are all from different companies. We are just arranging all the parts from different companies and then assembling and making a computer. Same way, please remember, automobile companies never manufacture all the parts at one place. It is scattered into different places. They collect all the parts from different places and then make the particular car or TV or computer. So all these car, TV, computer, mobile phones, all these fall under assembling industry, where the components are assembled to make a new product. Understood the 4 types of manufacturing industry. Again, I summarize. The first one was analytical, the second one was synthetical, the third one was processing, and the fourth one was assembly. Now moving to the second type of manufacturing, your secondary industry is construction. Means secondary was further subdivided into manufacturing and construction. We covered the manufacturing just now. Now the second part is construction. So they are engaged in constructing the buildings, dams, roads, bridges, all the things. Their main job is to construct all these buildings, dams, roads, bridges. Understood? So they will use the products of manufacturing industries and manufacture the road, dam, bridges. So engineers, architectural skills, all these come under the construction industry. Understood? Now moving to the last part, tertiary industry. Means these are the industries which will help you. They will give you a backup support system. It will help both the primary and the secondary industry to survive in the market. So your transport, your banking, your insurance, all warehousing, communication, all fall under the tertiary industry. So they are providing you the main support and service which is required by the primary and the secondary industry. For example, your transport, banking, insurance, warehouse. You know what is a warehouse? Where you keep store the goods in service. Banking means the money from where you will get, the banks, financial institutions. Transport means the vehicles to which you will import and export the raw materials, finished goods, all these. Insurance means you might be doing insurance for fire insurance, marine insurance, any sort of insurance. Communication means ultimately talking to your customers, taking the feedback and everything. So tertiary industry is the support system of both the primary and the secondary industry. Understood? So just to summarize what we did today, we have covered the 3 types of industry, the primary, the secondary and the tertiary. The primary was further of 2 types. The main thing is extractive and genetic. Secondary was manufacturing and construction. And the third was complete tertiary. Now, manufacturing was further of 4 types: analytical, synthetical, processing and assembly. Understood? That's all for today. Please jot down all these points in your notebooks. We will cover the second part, commerce, tomorrow. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.